What is up, guys? Nintendo here once again. Do you remember back in the day when you could go to EB Games or GameStop or any local video game store and you could find game guides? We called them walkthroughs back in the day, but they were awesome. If you got stuck in a game, you could flip through to the appropriate section, find all the pertinent information you need, such as charts and maps, enemy information, such as a bestiary, and, sometimes art and all kinds of goodies. I loved collecting these walkthroughs and these guides, but unfortunately they've kind of gone the way of the dinosaur, so now I'm very happy with the collection that I have of guides. I'm always on the lookout for more. I definitely collect RPG guides more than anything. As RPGers, we are definitely the ones that need these guides the most, as these games are always very long and involved and easy to miss stuff, so I feel like the RPG crowd are definitely the people that collect guides the most, and also people that play adventure games as well. But we're going to get straight into it. There's a lot of guides here, so it's going to be at least a two-parter, possibly a three-parter, so be sure to subscribe if you're looking forward to seeing more guide action. Thank you guys very much for watching. Let's get straight into it. Okay, starting things off, we've got this awesome Breath of Fire 3 guide. It's in pretty decent shape, a little bit bent up, but otherwise a pretty nice guide. This is the Prima official, and Breath of Fire 3 is a pretty awesome guide. Banish the evil goddess Miria and discover the secrets of your ancestors. I love these screenshots on the back and the art. This is just a nice presented guide, and some nice screenshots, honestly. Some nice quality. I always thought that bottom screenshot was the shit. I always thought it was amazing. One of my favorite screenshots of all time. And, there's some decent artwork in here. There's definitely the maps and such. And it is a pretty comprehensive guide, I must say. You get the story, you get all the dungeons, supposedly all the hidden areas, and yeah, like I said, pretty comprehensive, really cool art right there. Always love that. And, of course, full maps and everything. So this is a nice guide, definitely one of my favorites for sure. Up next, we have Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. This is one of the more unusual guides. As you can see, it is quite a bit smaller than something like that. It's almost like a novel-sized, but thinner, almost like a manga size. But yeah, this is one of my favorite guides ever. Get some cool screenshots on the back. A little bit of description, buy the book, own the game. Really cool stuff. But yeah, I love these smaller guides. I really think they're cool. And again, this one's very comprehensive. Some very nice screenshots. Shows you exactly what you need to do to beat bosses. Shows you the pattern. But again, some really nice screenshots, and I do really enjoy this compact size. There was some cool art right there. There you go. Not art, but actual pixels. Pretty damn neat. And you get a bunch of, this is the bestiary. But really cool stuff, in my opinion, one of my favorite guides. What do you guys think of the smaller guides that are thicker like this? I think they're pretty damn neat. Alright, next we've got the Castlevania Portrait of Ruin guide, which is a normal-sized guide. Kind of unusual that first one is smaller, and then this one's, the regular size. But here we go, Castlevania Portrait of Ruin. Definitely one of my favorite Castlevanias. Great Metroidvania action. Well, it's Castlevania, so I guess not Metroidvania, but you know what I mean. It's got all the RPG elements that you're looking for, and just some really cool stuff. Nice art. You get all the maps. Great screenshots. Full color. All the pertinent info. Again, full maps. Just very helpful. Cool art. Just overall, really neat. You get the stats for your weapons. Bestiary, all that. So, yeah, this is a great guide. One of my favorites, for sure. I love the Castlevania guide, so there's number 2 of that one. Okay, and here's the last Castlevania guide that I own. It's funny that I own all 3 for DS, but I don't have guides for any other Castlevania games, but yeah, it was really neat to get this one. This one's pretty hard to find. This is the Castlevania Order of Ecclesia guide, and really killer art on the front, and nice pertinent info on the back, nice screenshots, and help the Order of Ecclesia destroy Dracula. Great stuff. I really love the art, and the silver logo really does it for me as well. Get maps. Some nice detail on some of those screenshots. Shows you all the stats that are pertinent for the area. And a well done guide. This is probably my least favorite. It's a little bit more stripped down of a guide than the other two, but it's still pretty well done compared to some of the guides that I do have that are really, really bad. It's still a great guide, just not quite up to Portrait of Ruin and Dawn of Sorrow standards, in my opinion. And on to my favorite guide that I own, Dragon Warrior 4 for the original Nintendo. This is an amazing, and it's another one of those small guides. It's fairly similar in size to the Dawn of Sorrow guide, but a little bit bigger in height and not quite as thick. This is amazing that it came out for NES, and it's so comprehensive. Great screenshots, although small. They're full color. Actually, some of the screenshots are fairly big. There's some map of a town, and yeah, I don't even remember where I got this, but this is one of my prized possessions. Dragon Warrior 4 is one of my favorite games of all time, and to have a guide for it is just unbelievable. I love it. This is a fairly valuable guide, and not something easily replaced. I absolutely love this guide. It's got all the pertinent information. I love the bestiary showing the actual graphics of every single enemy in the game. Just amazing. Just really cool stuff. What do you guys think about that one? That is definitely my favorite guide, and I doubt it'll ever be usurped from the throne. Sticking with Dragon Warrior / Dragon Quest guides, we've got Dragon Quest VI Realms of Revelation. This is also a fairly uncommon, pretty expensive guide, and great colors on this. I love the matte finish on it. The artwork just pops, and it's in such good condition. It's just amazing. There's the side, and yeah, beautiful pictures, just awesome back. It explains everything that you get in this massive, massive guide. Definitely another favorite. All kinds of great screenshots. And a really great game for DS. A really, really fun game for DS. Really nice pictures of the areas, and some great artwork. And full maps, you know, all the stuff you need in a guide. This is the way guides should be. Look at how beautiful that is. Just awesome. Just amazing artwork. This is one of the more well-done guides for sure. Everything down to the borders and, you know, these little things separating the items from the courses, all that. It's just beautiful. They really did a good job. Look at all the graphics for these guys. And yeah, just amazingly well done. And something that you just don't see anymore because guides are pretty much dead. But even if you did get guides, they wouldn't be this good. More than likely. Moving on, we've got Dragon Warrior 7. The last game in the US that had the Dragon Warrior name until it moved on to Dragon Quest. Now, this game, in my opinion, is the game that needs a guide the most. This is an important guide. I've come across it a couple times, so I know it's not terribly uncommon, but it is necessary. It's a beautiful guide. It's really well done. The thing about Dragon Warrior 7 is you've got two different worlds. The way you explore them and the way you get to them, you really just need to make sure you get all the shards, and you have to do everything kind of in order, and it's a freaking long game. And when I say long, I mean like this game's like 150 hours. I've never beaten it. I've played a ton of it. Look at that artwork for the towns, something that carried over from that Dragon Quest VI. And yeah, the maps are amazing. They show you exactly what you need to know. They show you what enemies are in each area. And yeah, just again, another really well done map. I guess Dragon Warrior / Dragon Quest has always done great guides, but oh, I used to love these when I was a kid. I'd draw them. I would draw all of the weapons for Dragon Warrior 4, and yeah, these weapons in Dragon Quest 7 or Dragon Warrior 7 are amazing as well. So, really neat stuff. What do you guys think about that one? Have you played Dragon Warrior 7 and experienced its lengthiness? On we plow. Dragon Quest 8, Journey of the Cursed King. This is an amazing guide, and another one that strikes me as something that's necessary. Yes, of course you can get through these games without a guide, but man, it sure just does make the journey a bit easier. Again, amazing art, just beautifully presented. That logo is gorgeous. And presentation-wise on the back, it's also just very well done, nicely laid out, and yeah, it looks good. It says buy me, and it's a thick guide. This is one of my biggest guides, because Dragon Quest VIII is a long game. There's a map that is included, which is great, and yeah, it shows you all the pertinent information, and what a crazy map it is. Pretty dang cool. And then let's take a look on the inside, where you get a really well done guide. Presentation-wise, again, it's just gorgeous. Great art. Nice little about this guide section. You've got a map that shows most of the major places right in front, so it's easy to find. There's a nice illustrated table of contents, which is pretty great. And yeah, just character stats, places you can go, maps, hand-drawn maps again, which is just amazing, and then the actual graphics. But you get the great art, and in the back, you know, there's all kinds of stuff like your abilities, and this is one of the better games in my opinion. This might even be arguably the best Dragon Quest game. I know Dragon Quest XI is like such a step up, but in my opinion there's not really another one that has the charm of 8. Nostalgia tells me that 4 is the best, but you know, I think arguably most people would probably say that Dragon Quest VIII is the best one. Let me know what you guys think about that statement in the comments down below. What do you think about Dragon Quest VIII? I think it is a piece of art and one of the greatest games ever made. Okay, here's the last Dragon Quest guide that I have. Dragon Quest Monsters Joker, which is the second Dragon Quest Monsters game on the DS, but there were several before that. Dragon Quest Monsters has been going on for a long time. If you're not familiar with this game, it is a Pokemon-style game where you're capturing monsters, but the thing is you can combine them and make new monsters. Kind of like a Shin Megami Tensei game, but yeah, or a Persona game, I should say. But yeah, really cool stuff, great art. This shows you all the monsters you can capture, what you can use, you know, awesome art, just really cool stuff. And yeah, look, full color stuff, and I'm not sure if there's maps in here. Maybe so? Yeah, I'm not sure. This is one game that I haven't played much of, but I need to play more of. Fun games. If you've never played Dragon Quest Monsters or Dragon Quest Monsters Joker, get on it. Good stuff. Alright, next up to bat, we just so happen to be right from Dragon Quest straight into Final Fantasy, and this is Final Fantasy I. This is the PSP edition, which is a gorgeous, gorgeous game. So beautiful. The rearranged music is just perfect, and this guide is pretty useful. It's got all the stuff you need. Starting off with some magic, and what items do, gaining levels, what happens when you gain levels. You've got your full maps. And yeah, I mean, this is a straightforward guide, but this is for a straightforward game. This is, you know, a remake of the very first Final Fantasy. But yeah, check out all those maps. They're very detailed and exactly what you need. This is just, like I said, straightforward as hell and perfect. So yeah, what do you guys think about that? Final Fantasy on PSP. It's great to have these guides because basically the new pixel remasters are very similar to these versions, so yeah, you could use these guides for that, or the PSP version, or if you really wanted to, you could use them for the original games. And moving on, I got lucky and scored a copy of Final Fantasy II. This is also the PSP guide, and it is a gorgeous one. I really like the color on this one. The pinks and the purples just really pop. And yeah, it's got all the information on the back. Well presented, tells you exactly what's in here, maps, boss strategy, item and equipment listings, all that stuff. And yeah, it's pretty much very similar to the first one, just a little bit better. You get some art, and yeah, all the maps you need. Cool stuff, gorgeous game for sure. Boss strategy, always nice, and well presented. I really think they stepped it up for the second one, as opposed to that first one. The first one's just, like I said, a little stripped down, but yeah, this one's great. Absolutely awesome. And you've even got your bestiary with all of the amazing Final Fantasy enemies from Final Fantasy II. Okay, I have 1 and 2, and I also have 3. This one is the DS version of Final Fantasy III, a game we didn't really get over here until this version. And, you know, this game hasn't aged as well. It's definitely DS-style graphics. But the guide is useful. It's definitely got all the info you need. Way more stripped down than Final Fantasy II. Pretty not bad. Could be better. I don't know, it just seems kind of stripped down and kind of a cheap guide. Not nearly as well done as Final Fantasy I on PSP, and definitely not nearly as well done as Final Fantasy II. I mean, look at this. This is the bestiary. They're tiny. Look at how small they are. Okay, anyways, so there's Final Fantasy III. The back's actually pretty well done, but yeah, there we go, Final Fantasy III for DS. Moving on in numerical order, we've got Final Fantasy IV Advance. This is Final Fantasy IV that was originally Final Fantasy II on Super Nintendo because we got skipped for number 2 and 3 here in America. So they did the whole renumbering trick. I'm sure you guys all know that. That's old information, but Final Fantasy IV is an absolute classic. This guide is very useful, and I used it recently, actually, so yeah, fun times, great art, and this was a really good port of Final Fantasy IV for sure. Very true to the original. There's actually a map in here with a... it's got all the maps. Even the moon map. Spoiler alert, you go to the moon. Spoiler alert since like 1992. Yeah, this is a great, great guide. And yeah, Game Boy Advance guides are pretty good. You know, they weren't too stripped down. They usually had art. And they were well presented. Good stuff. Good stuff for sure. All the pertinent information. Nice backside. And yeah, Final Fantasy IV, definitely a great guide. Maybe one that is actually fairly needed because the end of that game is pretty damn hard. And we've got the old classic, Final Fantasy VII, the official strategy guide. Mine's bent right here and I hate that, but it's better than the one I used to have. Got full color photo of the gang, got some screenshots, and yeah, this is a decent guide. I mean, it's got all the info that you need, all the info you would want to need. It's got all the maps of everywhere, where treasures are hidden, and yeah. I don't know if there's much artwork in here, but it does show you, you know, what enemies are in what area, and, you know, what they're weak to, how many hit points they have, all that stuff. So it is a decent guide for sure. But again, this doesn't really have much artwork, or I'm flipping right past it, but yeah, beautiful full-color pictures. Nice stuff. And in the back, of course, you've got a bestiary, which is always nice. And accessories and weapons and all that stuff. So yeah, pretty cool. Oh, I think I saw a map in the very back. That's neat. And yeah, Final Fantasy World map. There you go. Pretty cool. Not a bad guide at all, and one that everybody knows, everybody's seen. Moving on, we've got a guide that I'm definitely happy to have because I do eventually want to play and beat this game. I have played it before, but not very much. I was very thrown off by it. The whole drawing magic system thing was weird, and it just was an odd entry in my opinion. Probably my least favorite Final Fantasy of the middle era, but Final Fantasy VIII is one that, again, I do want to play more of and try to beat at some point. But this guide definitely has all the stuff you need. All the locations, stats, blabbity blabbity blah. But again, this one's a little stripped down, not much art, it's all pixelated stuff, and yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool, you know. Okay, that's pretty cool. But it's set up like most Final Fantasy guides. You got the bestiary in the back. I'm sure there's going to be weapons and all that. You got your area maps. Definitely helpful. And well, maybe not weapons, I don't know. And a Toyota ad. That's why the hell is there a Toyota ad in a guide? That is weird. Okay, but yeah, there we go. Final Fantasy VIII. Definitely one that's going to get used for sure. Final Fantasy IX is one of my favorite Final Fantasies of all time, and so when I got it, when it first came out, I was super excited. I absolutely loved the game, and I loved it from the very first moment I turned it on. However, I was also excited to get this guide, and I have to say, guys, this is one of my top 3 worst guides that I own. Notice this enhanced by playonline.com. Now, if you go to playonline.com, you'll notice that the site no longer works. It has not worked for years and years and years, if not a decade or so, or more. Final Fantasy IX, they decided that they were going to somehow link this online, and there's special places where you can look up special, well, want to know what all the colored stones are for? Play Online has everything covered on this subject. You have to go online from your guide to find out more information. It made no sense. It was so stupid. Why not just print it? And look at there's tons of them. I mean, look at this. Every single page has something that you can look up on Play Online that they could have included on this guide. Nice artwork, great screenshots. One of my favorite characters of all time, Vivi or Vivi. Vivi is what I always called him. Great art. Yeah, I mean, it's just this. It really ruined the experience. There were things that you wanted to know that it's not even available anymore. You can't look this up anymore. It's a super weird guide, super awkward. Well presented, though, I'll give it that. So, yeah, what do you guys think of the Final Fantasy IX thing and the whole enhanced by Play Online? Did you get this guide? Did it piss you off? Because it sure pissed me off. What a waste of money. Hey, have you seen my new pickups video? Because if you had, you would see that it had a bunch of game-related stuff, but no actual video games in there. And in that video was this, Final Fantasy Tactics. So I just showed this off. I just got this. I got a great deal on it. It's a thick-ass book. And yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics guide. Really well presented. Look at that classic PlayStation 1 art. Just beautiful. Just absolutely gorgeous. Again, pertinent information. Full maps of the areas. They tell you the objective. They tell you everything you need to know. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward because it's a freaking tactical RPG guide. But yeah, I mean, this is another game where it's like there's so much going on, and you might not be able to figure out a battle or two. And this guide may come in handy for sure. And considering I'm one of the people that has never actually beaten Final Fantasy Tactics, this is something that I need for sure. I don't know, this stuff's pretty stripped down in the back, but overall, a really well done guide for a really cool game, and I'm glad I just added this to the collection. Final Fantasy Tactics, are you guys a fan? Well, if you're not a fan of Final Fantasy Tactics, I've got bad news. We've got another Final Fantasy Tactics guide. We've got Final Fantasy Tactics Advance for Game Boy Advance. I love this game. I haven't beaten this one either. I haven't beaten any of the Tactics games, but I've played this one a bit, and I just love the colorful, whimsical attitude of it, and just a really cool guide. Has all the stuff you need. Little character portraits on almost every page. You've got the maps that show you exactly where everything is. Shows you where you start, battle requirements, everything. Nice screenshots. Just well done. A little stripped down with the just white background, but that's okay. As long as it's, you know, decently well done. Check out that art. That's beautiful. So yeah, you know, it's got everything you need. It's tactical RPG, once again. It's like, you know exactly what to expect from that type of game, and therefore you know probably exactly what to expect from the guide. That is a really, really badass picture. Okay, cool. Are we finally finishing with the Final Fantasy guides? This is the last Final Fantasy guide, and there's only 3 guides left. This one and 2 more, so hold on to your butts. The last 2 are great. Final Fantasy Tactics A2 Grimoire of the Rift for DS is a great game. This copy's a little beat up on the end here. Well, a lot of beat up on the end right there, but yeah, there you go. Pretty cool art. Really neat art on the back, and well presented. Got some nice art there for your mages, and shows all your character job titles, what the jobs do, your stats, all that stuff. What you can equip, I believe. Shows you all the maps. More maps, and yeah, well done. This is a pretty well done guide. I always thought this was a very well done guide, and this is a fun game too, but again, I need to play it more. But yeah, check out that map, is really cool. Alright, so, yep, you know what to expect. Again, this is a tactical RPG guide, and you should know exactly what to expect with that. So, Final Fantasy Tactics A2 Grimoire of the Rift. And I said the last 2 guides would be impressive. I was not lying. Here is Fire Emblem Path of Radiance guide for GameCube. This guide was not something I got too horribly long ago, maybe late last year or early this year, and I had just gotten the game not that horribly long before that. My girlfriend bought it for me, and kudos to her for that. You rule. This is a game that I've always wanted to beat, and the guide will probably come in handy. Again, tactical RPG guides are always a good thing, and really great presentation on the back. Feel the burn! Jesus. Should see a doctor about that. But yeah, it's got maps, strategy, all 29 chapters. You've got some great art. You've got all your abilities, some nice screenshots, and yeah, definitely one of the rarer guides I own. And I got lucky on this one. I got several guides for $50, and this was in there, and definitely the reason I got it. I think I got it from Craigslist, of all places. Yes, people still use Craigslist, and yes, I still look at Craigslist for deals, and man, you should too, because sometimes you can score amazing things. And the last guide, definitely another doozy, Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. I got this guide with Path of Radiance at the same time, and was really stoked about it. What's funny is I still don't own Radiant Dawn. I have never owned that game that I remember. I traded, bought, and sold games for a little while there, so I could have owned it at one point and just forgot, but I don't think I've ever owned that game. So I'm definitely on the hunt for it, and I really do think that it's got great artwork, great presentation, although on the back it doesn't say anything about it. You have to literally open it up. And then there's primagames.com. Like, what? This is so weird looking. Does not fit the aesthetic at all. But anyways, yeah, it's a fairly thick book, really great artwork. About the author section, like, why do I need to know about the author? I said Arthur at first. About the author. Maps, strategies, pertinent information, charts, stuff, words, more words, character art, pretty neat. You know what to expect. It's awesome. Okay, and there we go. Part 1 of my video game guide collection. What did you guys think of that episode? Please leave a comment down below letting me know. Give a like button if you were into it, and be sure to subscribe so you know when I drop the second part of this. There might even be a third part with video game books that are not actually guides, but are video game related. So let me know in the comments below if that's something that you want to see. If you made it to the end of this episode, give a yeehaw! Just like always, thank you guys very much for watching. You guys rule. Much love, and keep rocking the retro games. Ah!